in it, and I'm not going to get it perfect, but I'm going to get it close. And it was something about this kid's very bad, horrible, rotten, and no good day. And someone know that book? Yeah, I don't. It was like somebody, a name, and then Alexander. And what does it say? Horrible, no good, very bad day. Have you ever had a horrible, no good, very bad day? I am having, usually Kim will be up when I'm down, and I'll be up when she's down. But this weekend, we're both kind of groveling. We're having not for any particular reason. We haven't lost our house. We haven't, had a big argument. I mean, there's really no excuse other than that we just kind of feel blah. And that's okay.
Amen.
Is that okay?
Amen.
I mean, isn't that what you'd expect living in a world that we live in? I mean, you don't have to go far from your bed in the morning before you start feeling the onslaught of this world. It's kind of par for the course. Very bad, no good. No, very bad, horrible. I can't remember my name most of the time. It's this getting old thing, it's definitely not for wimps. It isn't. So thinking about the fact that you've probably forgotten that we're just one more sermon after today about relationships. And I'm pretty sure that our relationships are pretty much almost excellent now, so I probably don't even need to preach anymore about it, right? How many of you are getting frustrated? It's like, I'm learning all these things. They're good things. They're really helpful things. My marriage, my friendships, my job, my interactions are getting so much better, but there's still lots of distance to go. So, I don't know if you have a bookmark. There's a whole bunch of them back there. These are all 7, plus the rinse and repeat function at the end. And on the back, it explains them. So I'm not going to review them. You can always go get them. So if you are newly married, oldly married, oddly married, about to be married, Tim and Harley, all right, you would be really smart to get this book and start using it. Could I just have a show of hands of those who have benefited in some tiny, remote way from this book? The sermons. Okay, it's not a complete blowout. I was just thinking, maybe you should watch the sermons again. But maybe I didn't preach them all. Maybe you should get the book. It's really good. Listen, from here to the end of time, we're going to be constantly dependent upon relationships. It's the first thing that God said wasn't right with creation. Like, he makes everything, and it's all incredible. He makes Adam, and it's all incredible. I mean, he's the incredible man, right? And everything is great, but then all of a sudden God's like, wait a second! I mean, the orangutan, she's kind of cute. A little hairy, but Adam can't have that deep, connecting relationship with an orangutan. So God makes the crowning beauty of creation. He makes Eve. And the original plan was that they were going to live and be together in just harmony and closeness forever. That's where we come in. Because that's God's plan still. He hasn't changed plans. It's still the very same objective. It's to have men and women together in a relationship where one meets and fills the need of the other. Today we're going to talk about a need. A need that men have and women have that is amazingly important, and yet it seems to be under attack. What's new, right? Have you noticed that every time we're talking about something that's essential to a relationship, all through this book, it seems like that's one of the targets that Satan has. He tries to destroy our connection with each other. It's the divide and conquer thing, right? If he can get us by ourselves, that's when we're most easy to knock down and take out of. No, it's going to be when we're together as a couple, as a family, as a church, as a community, as a world. Oh, don't you long for worldwide connection? Just look in the world and you'll see the pain and the suffering that humans are doing to humans. It's both on the macro scale of the world with wars and on the micro scale between two people. And even smaller than that, think about this. The great war of destroying relationships, it's actually wherever there's one, because the wounds received in relationships stay. And they ooze pus. They are tender to the touch. And they make you not want to reach out, open up, allow anyone in. And so, as individuals, literally, the relational wounds that we've had in the past prevent the relational healing in the future. And so we walk around isolated. Isolation. I think that is the goal of sin, isn't it? If you think about the relationship between God and Adam and Eve, what was the first thing sin broke? Was that relationship. See, God said it's not good for Adam not to have that deep relationship with someone. Satan said the same thing. Basically, hey, listen, you don't have it all together, Adam and Eve. You need something else. Listen, you eat this fruit, you'll be like God. You won't need each other. And boy, I'll tell you, didn't Satan do just one slashing act where he broke Adam and Eve's relationship apart from each other and apart from God? One slick move. And sin destroyed the very foundational relationships that bring life. So today, I want to talk to you about something else that is so critically important to relationship, but so indelibly under attack and dangerous and misunderstood. And it's about touch. It's about touch. Today, I want to talk to you about touch for the sake of touch. What is it that touch does for us, between us? How is touch important to a teenager? Hey, listen, you know what? When boys get to be 5, studies show they stop being touched. Because boys need to grow up to be solid men. They don't need to be softies. Do you know what that does to a child's heart? Girls, when they get to be just 12 or 13, the touch, the world starts identifying them as an object for touch for other reasons. And so often healthy touch is cut off and an unhealthy touch is commenced. I want you just to look at this montage. All these ways of touch, all these ways of connecting to each other, all these ways, I'll bet you, if I was to spend a few minutes with you and just listening, you could identify one of those pictures that really goes deep. I want to tell you, when I was 12, 13, there was no work for electricians in the area where we lived. My dad's an electrician. So he signed up to go to the Bruce Peninsula, which is way up halfway to the Arctic, okay? It's up north. He had to get on a plane and fly for 4 or 5 hours into the snowstorm of the Arctic tundra. And he was working at a big power plant there. He was gone for a month, then re-upped for another month, then re-up for another month. He was gone for 3 months. When he came back, he didn't shave. He looked kind of like Brother Pino. He had this beard, bright red beard. He looked like Ivan the Terrible. He was just like scary looking. When he came off the plane, we went to Ottawa, and as he came off the plane, we could see him long before he got to us. He was walking along with everybody, and I was like, man, who is that? And we figured out who was Dad. I had never seen him with such a... It's like he had a fro on his face. I'm telling you, he was amazing. He comes down, and to pick him up, it turned out because, I don't remember why, but it was just me and my little sister picking Dad up at the airport. My other 2 brothers and my other sister were somewhere else. He came down, and he immediately went and he gave a big hug to my mom. That's pretty normal. But then, he turned, he looked me in the eye, and he put his arms around me, and he pulled me in for a hug. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the first time I can ever remember getting a hug from my dad. I was 13. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what this thing was. I didn't even know whether it was okay for men to hug like that. But I'll tell you, that reached into the very center of my being, and it sent a message so far beyond words that just seeing a hug, especially between a man and his son, it does something to me. The reason is because there's something in us that is just beyond words. We don't I want to stop for a second. I just want to do an experiment, if you don't mind. You're going to need your hands. You have 10 fingers. I want you to understand that no fingers is horrible, bad, very terrible day. Alexander's terrible day. Okay, that's no fingers. 10 fingers will be the best day of your life. And 5 fingers is, meh. So put up your hands. How you feeling right now? Right now. Just how you feeling. Okay? Oh, we got some 10s. We got some 8s. Another 10. Got a 5. Got a 7. Okay? 8. Good. Just 5. That's good. Okay. All right. I just wanted to know. That's all. Hey, listen. The Bible teaches us, and David, thank you for reading this. Be kindly. This is Romans 12:10. This is Paul of all people. I don't know what you think about Paul, but I often think about Paul. He's like this untouchable, this gruff, this intellectual. But here's one of the things he says. Be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love. When I read that, it's like, really? Paul? Aren't you going to lay on us some kind of doctrine or explain grace or stretch our minds about who God is? No, here's a line where he says, listen, you and I have a role between each other to be kindly affectionate. What does that even mean? Is that something you can do from a distance? Is that something you have to touch people with? Kindly affectionate. Affection belongs between married folk and engaged folk. And affection isn't something that we do with the other church folk, is it? Affection? I mean, are you comfortable if I was to walk up to you right now and show you some, serious affection? I thought about doing some things like just going and grabbing someone by the... Jeffrey's getting nervous now. Are you okay with affection? What is affection? Paul says, be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love. Brotherly love. When was the last time you were okay with saying to someone, Jeffrey, I genuinely love you. I enjoyed when we sang together. I enjoyed when we talked together. There's been just far too many times that we've gone together. Yeah. Didn't like when we played basketball because you're too tall. But other than that, So what we're talking about today is absolutely based out of the scriptures. How important is touch? Well, let me ask you a question. How important is breathing? Any volunteers who'd like to just stop breathing for us so we can see what happens? Yeah, what would happen if you just stopped breathing? Yeah, you die. Yeah. What have you got? How long before your brain starts going to mush like mine? Is it a minute? 2 minutes? If we stick you in the deep freeze, you might make 4 or 5 minutes, right? It's not long. Well, what I want you to understand is that touch is like oxygen.
Amen.
I know you've heard those stories about babies way back when they didn't get touched and like more of them died. They all got the food, they all got their needs met, but that's way back in the olden days, right? No, it's not. Did you know that preemies will gain weight twice as fast if they are touched? If they're held close. But you think of a baby coming out of a womb where they're touched on every side, and then all of a sudden you stick them in an incubator, and the only thing they feel is their arms beating against their sides. There's going to be an abrupt, dysfunctional problem. No, touch is like oxygen. You know, I was setting you up just to think about what our world is like today. If ever there was a time where we're afraid to touch each other, it's now. Talk about Satan dividing and separating. You know, skin is the largest sense organ. What's your largest organ? If I asked you that, you'd probably say, well, the lungs are pretty big, the heart's pretty big. If you squish all the intestines together and fill them up with stuff, they'd be kind of big. But by far, your skin is your largest sense organ. It was so important to God in the beginning that he didn't want to cover it up. He wanted the whole organ to be interacting with the environment. Sin kind of messed that up. Now we cover up, we limit, and even when we have our hands, we put gloves on our hands many times. I was at the doctor's office with Jared yesterday, and most of the people in there had their gloves on. So there's not even hand-to-hand contact. Wow, was that a Freudian slip? Well, maybe so, because on our hands are the things, the vestiges of sin, the bacteria and all kinds of stuff that cause problems. No, the skin is much more than just plastic wrap for your body. You don't want to go without skin. When God designed skin, he designed it so that we could press it on each other. Oh, I'm thinking your mind is immediately going to the fact that there's problems with skin-to-skin contact. There's issues. Because of our fallen condition, we take something so good, so beautiful, so pure, so essential, and we live in a world where that's all been poisoned. It's been poisoned. This is healthy touch. This is when touch at its finest grows hearts, grows affection. You know, that same Paul, he goes even further than just brotherly love. He goes and says, hey, listen, greet the brethren. Greet one another. I think it says the brethren in some translations. With a holy kiss. So, turn to the person on your right and give them a holy kiss. What kind of a relationship is that? What kind of a thing is that?
Holy relationship.
Oh, come on, some of you married folk, you can get away with it. Do you need me to demonstrate a holy kiss? Y'all are getting very uncomfortable.
Do it.
Is anybody from a culture where you greet each other with a kiss?
French Canadians.
French Canadians, forgot. Nigeria. Anybody else? Yes? Haiti? Yeah. A kiss is... It's not until recently that we have started leaving more distance between ourselves and each other. We've backed away from each other. We're uncomfortable with each other. Listen, I want you to know that touch is a basic human need. To touch and be touched is essential. You might be starving to death. Literally. Now, touch can be across borders, but never across boundaries.
Amen. Here's
the difficulty, is how to make sure your touch and others' touch is healthy touch. The point of touch is not sex. It's usually involved in sex, but I'm telling you that men can touch men without you having to worry about some type of, And girls can touch girls, and girls can touch men, and men can touch girls, as long as it's appropriate and listen, one of the most difficult problems is when fathers noticing their daughters are becoming women, and so they're afraid to touch wrongly, so they don't touch at all. And that is not any better than touching inappropriately. Do you understand what I'm saying? When we don't touch, it's like vitamin T is missing from the diet. And their body may grow fine, but their hearts are going to be wounded. We need to be touching each other. So go ahead and touch someone. Touch someone next to you.
No, I'm good.
Touch them.
I'm good.
Touch them. Yeah? I want you to give 2 or 3 fist bumps. Just reach around your little territory. Find 3 people, give them a fist bump. We're going to start easy here. Fist bumps. Whoa, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Fist bump. Fist bump. Oh, yeah. High five. Give someone a high five. Oh, I cannot believe it. I'll give you a fist bump. All right. High fives? Can you do that? How about give somebody... Okay, I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you the whole way. Okay, we've got some man-to-man combat going. Okay, I've been thinking about this all week, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to do it or not, but I think we're going to do it. I am going to push you to your limits. No one is forced to do anything that I'm going to suggest, so if you need to, I'm going to encourage you, because what we're going to do is healthy touch. What I need you to do is form a large circle back there in that area. Don't worry, I've got a whole bunch of hand sanitizer afterwards. Okay? Don't worry, you won't need lip sanitizer. Okay, I don't see anybody getting up. No, get up and make a large circle there. One large circle and then a smaller circle inside of it. Okay? A large circle on the outside. Come on, be brave, be brave. Come on, people. Come on, we're going to do this thing. We are going to do lab at church. Come on. Yeah, back up to the outer reaches. Everybody's coming. That's it. So proud of you guys. This is scary. This is scary. That's okay. Just make one circle on the outside. We'll do it that way. Okay? One big circle. Okay? Come on, guys. Come join the circle. This is going to be fun. Come on. One big circle. Okay, is everybody in the circle? Matthew's not? Matthew, Thomas, get yourself over here. Okay, stretch around so there's room for everybody to be in the circle. Well, I don't know that you could name this. This is just, yeah, okay. So, what we're going to do is this. I'm going to lead the procession. We're going to go around, and you can, listen, you can fist bump, you can elbow bump. I mean, that's one level below fist bump, okay? Depending on who it is, maybe be respectful, right? What I want to demonstrate today is that there are lots of ways that we can give each other healthy touch, which is vitamin T. From now on, I just want you to realize you need vitamin T. Did you know that you need to be healthy? Where's my beautiful wife? How many hugs a day to be healthy? 8. How many of you get 8 hugs a day? You've got Alice in your family. That's why you get 8 hugs. If you don't get 8 hugs a day, Byron, I love what you're doing. That's your little girl. You know, we forget that our kids need to be told we love them in more ways. Do you know what's wrong with most teenagers? Do you know what's wrong with most teenagers? It's that no one's touching them. And so, follow me on this, and so they go out to seek the touch. Are you following with me? They'll go after the touch. Listen, when you need something, you go and find it. And if you can't get it in a healthy way, you go and you find an unhealthy way to get it. Do you see danger? What do we often stop doing when our kids become teenagers? We give them space. We back off. And because they say, get out of my face. But they say that with their lips, but you know what their hearts are saying? You know what I'm talking about? All right. Just curl in and follow Margaret. Okay? Just curl in and follow Margaret. Okay? You just stay here. You'll be, sorry, you're going to have to be the last. You're the end of the train. I'll give you a hug just so that you can make it through. I'll sit back with you. Welcome. Okay. Very nice to meet you. I already bumped you. Just keep going. If it, an elbow bump, if you don't know someone very well or they're kind of frightening looking. Oh, I love it over here. Look, these guys are holding hands. These guys too. Do you know what that is? That's healthy touch. COVID has done what to our world? It's escalated our isolation. Did you know people died during COVID not because of COVID or pneumonia? They died because of starvation. Touch starvation. Can't let you go unless you get hugged. Touch starvation. I'm going to ask you guys, can you start the train this way? Okay? I'm going to ask you, Maria, can you start the train that way? Yeah. Oh, come on. You guys are married. I wanted a holy kiss here. You guys could even have an unholy kiss. It's going to take a while to think that one through, isn't it? Oh, man. Thank you. Okay, Bruce? Bruce, go on. Go in, follow. Yep. I need to know. You can just go right and keep going. Is there anybody sitting back here in the crowd? You're missing out on some good stuff over here. Okay. You're missing out. Oh. No, you're hugging right. Yeah. Of all people, I thought you would be out there hugging. Yeah, well, people can say two good things. I love hugging. Hey, if you're done in your line, come and find someone in the crowd over here who hasn't gotten a hug and give them a hug. That's how we get up. You okay? Did it hurt? I love you guys. Yeah, come on, up on your feet. I love you guys. How are you doing, my friend? I love the beard! Woohoo! God bless you. How are you doing? Oh, thank you. I'll take it. Okay, I think I'm going to have to call quits over here. You guys are getting entirely too friendly. All right, let's come back to our chairs. All right, we're going to get intoxicated with all these hugs. Everybody come back to your chairs. I just want to see you today. Come on. Oh, you are terrible. You're terrible. Thank you, guys. I'm so glad to see you. Hey, somebody break that up back there. All right, you guys. That's enough of that. Hey, this is church. We don't hug in church. You guys are acting like a bunch of first century Christians. You guys, you are healthy. Beautiful thing. All right, break it up, break it up. You guys are acting like you like each other. What's with that?
I can't get her to come back.
All right, all right. Okay. Okay. All right. Hey, let me tell you about the coffee house experiment. Okay, so these researchers went to all over the world and they sat in coffee houses for like an hour and a half. And what they were doing is they were watching couples and counting how many times they touched each other. 3 of them were really interesting. First one, Paris, France. How many times do you think couples touched each other in the coffee house in Paris, France?
200.
I mean, that's the place where love happens, right? 110. Then they came and they did the same thing in Gainesville, Florida. Guess how many times the couples touched each other? 2. Then they went to London, England with Queen. None. You know, our cultures are crazy. Listen, would you rather be known as the stodgy English folks that don't smile and they have crooked teeth? Or do you want to be known as the French who are good lovers? Oui, oui, oui. Listen. Okay, I want to finish with, okay, this is a really good slide, but we're really out of time. We did something way more important. Let's do that test one more time. Oh, I can't miss all this. It's all good stuff. That's okay. We did some important stuff. Here. How many? Oh, I've got blinking 10s. How many? Okay, I want you to think back to what you put first. And if you went down, like if you went down 3, go like this. If you went up 3, go like this, okay? So, did you go up or down? I don't see anyone that went down. Do you know what we just did? We just ratified the truth that touching fills, meets a need, changes your heart. The truth is that a 20-second hug with someone you're comfortable with will actually raise your mood, your health. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the slides I skipped. When you touch, you release something called oxytocin. Oxytocin is the trust molecule. It's the molecule that makes you more happy, more peaceful. Your blood pressure goes down when you have oxytocin. Your heart rate goes down when you have oxytocin. It doesn't stop. It just goes down. Your body becomes more enlivened when you have oxytocin, and you're more at peace. Like you're in the green pastures with Jesus beside the still waters. Oh, that's oxytocin. It helps you to trust people. Listen, if you're talking to someone and they're having a hard time believing you, I'll give you a hack. Reach out and hold their hand. Now, don't be like, what are those guys in Star Wars that, they touch you and then you start thinking what they think,
Jedi.
The Jedi, that's it. I knew there was somebody. Don't be doing it wrong, okay, using it for wrong. But honestly, if you want to comfort someone, touch them. Touch the whole skin is, our skin, we've got a whole bunch of it, and it is incredibly responsive to touch. Now, if you don't get touched, if you are touch-starved, there's another molecule that's released in your body, and it is the molecule cortisol. Cortisol, you remember from fight and flight? It's the stress hormone. It's the one that you release when you need to stop digesting, forget the immune system, you just need to run. That's cortisol. In our society, stress releases cortisol. Cortisol shuts off your digestion. It increases your blood pressure, increases your heart rate, makes your breathing more shallow, and it shuts off your immune system. Now, in a 30-second event, when someone scares you and you release cortisol, that's all fine. But we are living in a world where stress is constant. Constant. So with stress being constant, the release of cortisol is constant, and we get ulcers, and we get just high blood pressure and hypertension. That's the same thing, isn't it? Funny, isn't it? We get lowered immune systems, and we can't even fight the diseases. Listen, you'd be better off touching someone that's got bacteria on their hands and lowering your blood pressure and releasing oxytocin and increasing your immune system than not touching them and just breathing it in. In other words, you're better off to reach out and touch someone. If none of that moved you. Listen to what Jesus says. Inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me. When you reach out of your own safe, quote unquote, little cocoon, and you reach into someone else's life, and you touch them, you're touching Jesus. You're touching Jesus. We just, in the back of our sanctuary here today, we just gave Jesus about, I don't know, a couple thousand hugs. Because whenever our hearts are lifted, it's as though Jesus' heart were beating in our chest. Let's pray together. Lord, today you just illustrated the most incredible thing. I mean, who would have thought it that you would have planned into our sense organ called skin the ability to change our hearts, change our minds, change our whole outlook on life. Lord, give us this day, not just our daily bread, but our daily hugs. Thank you. Thank you for this incredible body that you gave us. May your name be honored and glorified. I ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's sing Love at Home. Love where? At home. Because if love ain't at home, it ain't anywhere.